We are 43 days away from the presidential election, and the Obama campaign has nothing, and I mean nothing left, but to call Mitt Romney a racist. The dog story failed. The bully and the gay kid failed. Bain killed the steelworker's wife was a flat-out lie. The president was even asked if he was somewhat disturbed that some of these attack ads have no validity. Here he was responding on 60 Minutes with Steve Kroft.
Do we see sometimes us going overboard in our campaign? Are there mistakes that are made? Are there, areas where there's no doubt that somebody could dispute how we are presenting things? That happens in politics.
I'm sorry, you have no control over the message of your own campaign. You have no say-so in these attack ads. Look, Romney doesn't drink, do drugs, or even smoke. He's never cheated on his wife. The guy doesn't have so much as a political parking ticket. And that's the problem. He's so clean, the Democrats are going to have to get even dirtier. Now, you might be asking, how do I know he's so clean? Let me start with the fact that he ran against Ted Kennedy for the Senate in 1994. You know, Ted Kennedy, the epitome of the Democrat machine. If anybody was going to dig up something on Romney, it would have been Ted Kennedy. I'm sure you know Romney lost that race. But here are some of the Kennedy attack ads.
Come out here to Marion, Indiana, and see what your company has done to these people.
We had no rights anymore.
They cut the wages.
We no longer had insurance. Basically cut our throats.
I'd like to say to the people of Massachusetts, if you think it can't happen to you, think again.
Romney favors a $100 billion tax cut for the wealthiest 1% of Americans and billions more in other tax breaks for the rich. Romney, trickle-down economics and a millionaire's tax cut. Whose side is he on? As head of Bain Capital, Romney hired only one woman among 40 top managers. The Globe said the team he put together is exclusively male. Romney's answer? There aren't enough women to recruit who are qualified.
So Bain ruined lives, tax cuts for the rich, and a war on women. Sensing a growing pattern here, Romney also ran for governor of Massachusetts, again against State Treasurer Shannon O'Brien, another liberal Democrat in the party machine. But he beat her by 5 points, but not before the media made a big stink about his tax returns.
Senator Kennedy, when I was running against him, boy, I told him, you've got to release those income tax returns of yours. And he said, no, I value my privacy. And I think he was right, and I was wrong. As a result, I do share his view on this. I'm not going to release my income tax returns.
Anybody remember anybody making a stink about Ted Kennedy not releasing his tax returns? And funny, nothing about college transcripts in there. Again, we see a brewing pattern. Now, Mitt Romney also ran for president in 2008. So if there was any dirt on Mitt Romney, it would be out by now. Now, last week, Mitt Romney released 1,200 pages of tax returns. And on Friday, Roll Call magazine ran this quote from Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, who asked, quote, what else in those returns has Romney manipulated? What we don't know is why he refuses to be straight with the American people about the choices he made in his financial life. When will the American people see the returns he filed before he was running for president? Good for you, Harry. You said manipulated. I guess it's time for the Obama campaign to package that up into a campaign ad and just go around acting like it was an organic soundbite pulled from the news and not at all scripted. Now, whose job would it be to start calling Romney a manipulator? Who would be tasked with getting it embedded into news stories? I'd like you to meet Stephanie Cutter. Yes, that charming scowl belongs to the Democrats' one-woman SWAT team. Or, as former McCain campaign director turned MSNBC analyst Steve Schmidt said of his former nemesis, quote, Stephanie Cutter is arguably the strongest player on either side out there now. She's very, very good on TV as a messenger for the campaign. A little background on this cupcake. Back in the 90s, she worked in the Clinton administration as an associate communications director over at the EPA. Don't know if she was an intern. Being a Massachusetts gal, she was hired by Ted Kennedy in 2001 as his communications director. In 2003, she jumped over to the Kerry campaign as communications director with Kennedy's blessing. When Ted Kennedy endorsed Barack Obama over Hillary Clinton in the 2008 presidential race, it was then she began to be Obama's left-hand woman. See what I did there, left hand? After Obama's win, Cutter was the communications director for the Obama-Biden transition, and she's been with the Obama administration ever since. If Mattel would have put out a dirty politicking Barbie, it would be Stephanie Cutter. Remember when she told the world she had no idea about the details surrounding the death of Joe Soptik's wife? You remember him. He was the former steel worker at GST Steel who supposedly lost his wife to cancer because the evil Mitt Romney shut down his plant, put him out of work, and it turned out that Romney wasn't even with Bain at the time, and Soptik's wife actually had her own insurance after her husband lost his job. The fact that no insurance would have saved her from the stage 3 cancer that took her life years later, that was also left out. Now, Stephanie Cutter is here playing stupid.
Because I didn't. I didn't know the facts of when Mr. Soptik's wife got sick. And I only recently learned them through all of the hysteria over that ad.
That, and she put Joe Soptik on a conference call with a bunch of journalists to make him the big victim of Mitt Romney. Look, here's the catch-22. It seems obvious to me at this point that the Obama campaign so desperately needs to label Romney a racist, and that would be the lowest of the low. On the other side, conservative and libertarian and even independent voters need to see Romney get tough before November. They need to hear Romney come out and call Obama a socialist or a communist, or at least tie him to the Cloward-Piven strategy. Now, if he did, I wouldn't be surprised to hear Stephanie Cutter and her message minion rebrand any attempt of Romney's to get tough as racist. Now, progressives will once again prove that once you get to the bottom of the barrel, if you lift up the barrel, there's something squirming around below.